All right, I'm about to do what I love doing the most in this job, and it's getting to interview people who actually make games, something which I deeply admire because I know it is beyond my capabilities. I'm very happy to introduce Tor Bilstad, game director on Hitman Absolution, one of my most wanted games of the year. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
And congratulations, you finished a Hitman game, first one since 2006.
Yeah, we finally did.
And obviously it has been a while and technology has changed. And the first Hitman came out in 2000. So many things have evolved over time, but other than Agent 47, what do you see as that core element that makes a Hitman game?
Well, it's the power of choice is what's in everything that we do, and we really believe that the player should be in the center of the experience, and whatever he is doing throughout the game is what we're trying to help him get the experience that he wants out of the game. So that's something that we really tried to do also when we built new tech for Hitman Absolution, was to figure out a way that we could more easily build and iterate on the levels in the game so that people would get a more, you can say, tailored experience when they made their choices.
I mean, it's interesting you bring this up because so many games these days are trying to offer some degree of choice, be it something like Mass Effect or like the most recently released Dishonored game. But you guys have been playing in this area since all the way back in 2000 when that was not as common. I mean, how have you sort of seen that component of game development evolve over time?
Well, I think the way we looked at it when starting up, it was more like a puzzle box. The games were designed like on paper, like top down, seeing how everything revolved, and you as a player would have to kind of figure out all the different kind of how all the pieces of the machine was kind of working. While in Absolution, also seeing how presentation and you can say, making the choices a little more obvious to the player became so much more central to game design. That's also why getting the new technology, we also found out we could design the games in another way. So now we're actually designing them from almost like the inside out, that everything is real time. So we just start off with like an empty plane, drop in characters, drop in the Agent 47 and start walking around with them, finding out how does the level need to be to kind of fulfill the criteria that you need as a player.
So you were kind of experimenting with your own choices as you were making the game.
Yeah, but it's difficult because as we know everything about the game, we have to have someone else then trying and see, did we actually do the right thing? Did they understand they have the choice? Because I think it's true that there's a lot of games these days that are kind of that give you the choice, but there's a very big trend where games are just giving you a very strong linear experience, right? Where if you deviate from the path, you will just be killed and have to restart, right? So many players have this feeling that if I'm not being told what to do, I don't know what to do, So we have to teach them through the first levels of Absolution that actually you have the choice, you can do anything you want, we will not stop you, we'll actually, encourage you to kind of use your brain and do whatever you think is most fun for the way, for you can say, your personal reasons for playing this game.
Right. Now, instinct is new to this game. I think it's, did you guys go back and forth about whether or not you wanted to lay out so clearly to the player the things that they can interact with that can help them resolve the problems at hand?
Actually, it came about because the AI is the kind of you can say the heart and soul of any Hitman game, and the AI of Absolution became more and more complex. So when we were playing our game ourselves, were having problems finding out what the hell they were up to, and going around a corner, always being kind of stressed out. It's like, are they here? So it was really, really difficult for us. So we were thinking about how can we, make it like give player information that they need to make a choice. If they want to charge on today, that's fine. They can absolutely do that. But if they also want to, okay, there's a guy coming, I should, take care, like I'm hiding or backtracking or whatever out of the area. So instinct came about because we had the paths of the NPCs that we're kind of calculating anyway. So we said, let's just try to show them and see if that will help us. And it did quite a lot, because seeing that someone is about to come past here it's very interesting information, and kind of seeing people close to you. And if you think about it, we had a lot of kind of strong reactions from the community when we showed this off. But if you think about it, actually the map mode of the old games showed you everything in the level, and Instinct is only showing you a little piece of that.
What's right there in your vicinity, which actually makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, exactly, because that's the thing you're most interested in. You're not interested in a guy that's like, Yeah.
Yeah, who's 4 floors
mile
up. You want the
away.
guy who's right over there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, how do you? I mean, I think one of the basic, issues when you make games like this is that you want to give the player choice, but you can give them too much choice, where it becomes almost overwhelming and paralyzing. I mean, how do you guys find that kind of perfect balance where the player feels like they're inventing something, but they're not? It's not just a free for all.
Yeah, that it is a big challenge, and it also means that the kind of designers we need on the team are also, you need people with a lot of experience and also with a lot of, that are very inventive in designing levels that feels different from each other, as well as it's offering the choice that you would expect from a Hitman game. But I mean, we're constantly reviewing all the levels and expanding them as we kind of see, okay, this level, it became too linear here. It's almost like walking down a corridor. Let's add some rooms over here. Or in some cases, we said, okay, we just have to start all over again. This area doesn't work at all. Let's rebuild it and make it far more, you can say, diverse. But then if it gets too big, like you say, then you can kind of get lost in this kind of labyrinth. So then we say, okay, we close off these areas. But it's constantly evolving, and the challenge is also that, as all the other departments like the animators and the script writers are involved in this, and they're kind of building all the different moments of the characters, then these moments also shapes how the level will look like, and you can't just move these things around too much because they might be designed specifically for an area. So it's this, I think from a producer, it's probably the worst nightmare you can have, because it's a complete mess, of people changing things left and right.
Chaos.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to talk about the Chinatown level, which I just recently played. Yeah, I sort of walked in, I saw that my target's car was there, so I just put a bomb next to it and got him to come over by hitting the alarm and made it explode. And it was only afterwards, when talking to some of the guys here, I realized how many other ways were available. I thought, sort of for the sake of the audience out there, those who haven't played the game, what do you kind of advise so that they understand the degree of diversity? Because I actually thought that was the one way that you could get him, and then found out, oh no, there was like a sniper rifle in one area. How do you want the player to sort of approach the levels to find all that out? Yeah,
Bill, we built in what we call like a challenge system into the game, where everything you do, like the way that you kill him, will give you, then you can complete one challenge, and there is a number of them for each level, and they are kind of serving as our hint to the player that this is a way to do it, right? So on the King of Chinatown, I think there's like 12 different ways of disposing of the king, and there's a lot of other things you can do as well that they kind of fulfill challenges. So because we had this, you can say, luxury problem of the old Hitman games, is that we built so much content, but most people, they will only see a fraction of it, and they didn't even know it was there until they kind of talk with their friends, like, oh, you can actually do this. I had no idea that, like you said, it's like, is it a sniper rifle? What the hell is that? I want to go back and find that. So it is, you can say, it's when you sit there as a team and there's things you're building that no one will maybe ever see. I mean, it feels a little sad, right? So we're trying to see how can we make people aware of all these things and wanting to go back. So these challenges actually also they tie into your score. They become the permanent score multiplier. So if you're interested in being the best assassin in the US or even the best assassin in the world, that's all being logged online. So every single level, you can always go in and see how are you doing against your friends, for instance, or the world average. And this score multiplier will also then bump up your score, right? So that also incentivizes you to go back and find all these other things.
Yeah, I was noticing those scores. I'd like to say, at least at this moment, it looks like that the U.S. has better killers than some parts of Europe. Hopefully that will change, or maybe that will change in the months to come. I do want to ask you about the scores. It can give the impression that you guys feel there is a more appropriate way to do the level than other ways. Is it fair to read it like that?
Yeah, we had to put in, you can call it like a moral way of judging the player, right? So we would say, okay, if you play it through as a professional assassin, right, then you will go in, no one even know you were there. You might even taken out the target, making it look like an accident, and then just escape the scene as if nothing had happened, right, in your suit. That's like the perfect playthrough of a level.
I guess that makes sense. If you kill more than your target, you should be billing your client more for the amount of death that you cause.
Yeah, or someone has to clean up that mess, right? So.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I want to talk about the technology because I mean, anyone who's taken a look at this game realizes it's just absolutely gorgeous. So obviously your new technology has that benefit. What else is going on under the hood that really sort of allows you to do things with the franchise that you've never been able to do before?
Well, I mean, one goal that we had with this game was to make the most cinematic Hitman game ever, and it's difficult to make something cinematic when the choice is on the player side. They can do whatever they want, and there's not so much we can stage for them. There are certain moments throughout the game that we know they're coming through this door. We can stage something interesting for them, but as they go through the level, what we have to rely on is that the AI is reacting appropriately, which is something that it is the most important kind of feature of the whole game, you can say, is how the AI reacts to you. And we spent a lot of time on their different reaction patterns and how they kind of interact with each other. So the script writing became central in how the AI reacts, and we have something like 50 pages of script per character only to the generic reactions to the player. And whatever they're doing in the world, you should be able to get interesting and kind of entertaining and hopefully also useful reaction to whatever it is that you're trying to do. And we also have a dynamic sound system that is tying into this AI. So whatever they're doing, if they're getting agitated or getting angry at you, the music will follow and try to give you a cinematic experience that fits then what the game is doing. If you're ramping up going into action, the music will give you a more of an action hero experience, while if you're sneaking through, it will be more suspenseful and kind of hang back a little bit because you might be more interested in the dialogues of the different scenarios.
What happens on the harder difficulty settings? Because I'm playing it on normal right now, and there's 3 more. Does the AI change? What
it certainly does. Yeah, it's we also knew that we were serving a quite large group of fans and players from more kind of you can say normal human beings that are playing kind of third-person games that wants an experience. They should be playing on normal or easy. Then you will get quite a lot of kind of help from the game. You will be told like points of interest in the world, and the AI will be reacting to you, but they won't be just killing you on the spot. While if you turn up the difficulty level, actually, not only does all the the senses of the AI gets better, but also there gets more of them. So if you play the game through on normal, thinking that now you know the game, and then if you bump up to hard, suddenly you might find that a cluster of NPCs over here and one over here. Before you can kind of deal with them separately. Now there's people walking in between these groups, making it completely different, because now you can't just take care of these and then leave them alone. You have to relate much more to the whole world. And when you bump it up to expert, it gets even worse. And then we have the hardest difficulty setting, which is called Purist, where we turn off all help. There's no heads-up display at all. There's only your reticule, and that's it. You have to count the bullet in the gun by yourself, and you have to imagine, or kind of think when does the NPCs actually see me, and when am I doing something illegal? So this is the goal with Purist, was that to allow the players who only liked Hitman 1, which was notoriously difficult.
Oh my God, was it? I think I'm still recovering from the aneurysm I got playing the first Hitman game.
So the Purist mode, the goal for us was to make something that was even more difficult than Hitman 1. Mm-hmm. And no one in IO should be able to play through that.
Really?
Because if we can play through it, then for sure the fans will be playing through it in hours, right? So we say, okay, we know it's theoretically possible, but we didn't actually do it on Silent Assassin.
Well, I mean, I think you've now thrown down the gauntlet. I can say from my playing, I can't wait to go back and play a lot of these levels and find some new challenges. So I think that is a valid challenge to throw out there for all the players. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on the game. Obviously, Hitman is coming out on Tuesday, PS3, PC, and the Xbox 360?
Yes.
Great. Well, once again, thank you so much. Now, this is not the end of our coverage of Hitman Absolution. Of course, next week there's going to be the review and a lot more coverage. Remember, you can find out all about this by subscribing at youtube.com/Rev3Games or on iTunes, or of course, just go to revision3.com. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you again, and we'll do it again soon.